Hello and welcome to Invisible Walls, episode 121. This is a very special episode because all of our equipment is missing and we're in a cold room passing mics, just trying to make a podcast that works.
Yeah, it's a little low tech right now, but I think it should work out.
As you can hear, we have Patrick Morales on the show today.
Hi guys.
And he's going to pass the mic to
Mike.
Oh, yeah, that's fucking
Hey
horrible.
everyone.
Oh yeah, bringing up the caboose.
It's good to be the caboose.
Yeah.
Or that's what I heard in prison. Without much further ado, we are going to start Invisible Walls. So for anyone wondering why this show is so short as you look at the little timer, a bunch of people are in Germany covering Gamescom, and the people that went to the BioShock Infinite event and the QuakeCon in the Texas are sick with nerd flu and the like, so it's just our ragtag gang of scalawags trying to earn a crust in the world of video game podcasting. But we are going to comment. I think actually I usually go to Gamescom, and I think it's given me a little more perspective being on this side where I can actually watch a lot more of the media and see what's going up. I've actually been pretty active with actually posting a lot of stuff, and I gotta say the show seems pretty decent this year compared to last year. Not such a repeat of E3. Anyone see anything that really stood out for them?
Probably the biggest thing for me is for them to announce Mass Effect 2 on PS3. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen sooner or later, but I have to wonder why they would put out Mass Effect 2 and not the first one. Did you hear about what they were doing with regards to, all the stuff that happens before Mass Effect 2?
No, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? Oh, like the interim between the two games?
Yes.
No, what did they say?
So one of the doctors at BioWare said basically that they would work in this new feature in the PS3 version that would somehow usher in all the information and choices and stuff that you do in the first game.
Oh, like so
into
you
the
can
second
import
game.
a save, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically a placeholder, for not having played the first game. I don't know how I feel about that, because...
Is that going to be like a choose-your-own-adventure app or something like that, or what?
They're still outlining it. We're not sure exactly what it'll entail, but I don't know. Part of the appeal for Mass Effect 2 for me was,
that's your.
playing
You've
through
already
the
played the
first one.
game to completion on insane difficulty.
Yeah.
And you're excited about that. It's this game that you've already played is coming out on PS3.
I just think it's cool. I mean, it's a huge 360 exclusive to see it on the PS3 is pretty cool.
Yeah,
for,
but I think
people doing it.
ever since EA kind of bought BioWare, I think we all saw it was kind of heading that way.
For sure.
I guess my curiosity is it going to launch when 3 comes out? Is it going to launch day and date between both versions? Would be like the more long run thing.
That's another thing, yeah.
And speaking of sales statistics, another thing we're now going to talk about is the NPD, because that is the domain of Shane. Yeah, the press conferences were pretty good. Mike, I see you're getting past the conch shell. Anything?
Well, I wanted to further comment on Mass Effect. So, I mean, you mentioned that stuff to import your choices possibly, but what else is going to be different about the PS3 release that's going to give incentive to people to buy? Because it seems like a lot of people already jumped on board the 360 version, and if it's just going to be bare bones, like, is that too little, too late?
Yeah, obviously it doesn't have much value for people that already have a 360 and played the second one, but it's a huge deal for PS3 owners that don't have it, and it comes with almost all of the downloadable content that's come out for it so far.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense that they announced this in Europe, because it's definitely Sony land over there, and that is a AAA game for sure. Sony had a pretty good press conference in general. I mean, EA's press conference was good too, other than like the flashing wizards and starting off with The Sims. CRYSIS multiplayer was the demo is a little boring, but it's I don't know, it's cool to like them actually show it. Speaking of multiplayer, Killzone multiplayer,
3, yeah,
looks like that's going to be a staple of anyone's PlayStation diet in the future. It looked pretty decent.
Yeah, I was reading about it on the blog, and they're reworking the whole class system. They're including this cool little feature where, depending on how well you do in multiplayer, you'll be featured in like cutscenes apparently.
Okay.
I don't know.
Fame, 15 minutes.
And things like that, like the classes, the squad systems. They'll have like prioritized squad audio channels, like in MAG. Seems to be pretty cool. And plus, you saw that huge robot that the guy climbs into in the trailer.
Yeah, definitely cool.
Pretty neat.
Brooks, you got something to lay down?
Yeah, it just seems like Sony is really doing a good job, because a lot of things I'm hearing from you guys and what I've been seeing from the show is like predominantly Sony. And one of the things that stood out in my mind is the Infamous 2 trailer. I really like that. That was pretty neat. You guys caught that, I assume.
Yeah, good song.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I wasn't really big on the first one so much, but I like where this one's going. I like the direction it's taken. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think the other big one was Resistance 3 being announced with that like weird live action. I guess everyone's calling it a teaser, but it's like 3 minutes long. I think I think we'll see another big viral campaign for Resistance this time around, and that's a series that's kind of like it was a really strong launch title, and then 2 kind of tried to add a lot of things and wasn't quite as strong maybe across the board.
Yeah, it seemed like 2 was a little hit or miss with some people.
Yeah, like some of the AI routines and stuff like that. And I mean, I know, Patrick, you kind of dug the weird kind of co-op thing it had, but I wasn't the biggest fan. I think maybe it was just trying to wear a lot of hats. And I know everyone's expecting every game to have co-op and multiplayer and single player.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll get the perfect storm. But goddamn, Insomniac's just designing so many games. Ratchet and Clank, what is it, All for One? Online co-op, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Ratchet and Clank have always been together for the most part. Yeah, I know they get separated from time to time, but it's kind of cool. And they still have their mystery EA project, which was still yet to be announced,
That's
along
right.
with Suda's crazy Mikami game that is yet to be announced. And
Do you think
EA's
they're
press
still going to go
conference
through
said,
with it?
I think it's still in the works. We're actually supposed to do a Suda interview at Gamescom. We're recording this on Wednesday, and it hasn't happened yet. But they were very like anxious about like, what are we going to be? What can you submit questions you're going to ask him ahead of time? And we're like, we're going to ask him about his game design theories, maybe anything about the new EA project. Like, we don't think we can say much about that.
Cool. Well, good to know it's still alive.
He's a stylish dresser as well.
Going back to BioWare, I have to wonder, what do you think about the Dragon Age 2 debut teaser? I know we've seen screenshots of it from that whole Game Informer coverage, but now that we see more of it...
The teaser was a little underwhelming for me.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of the kind of the commercials that came out right around when Dragon Age came out, which were kind of like people fighting on a soundstage or something like that.
Well, at least no Marilyn Manson this time.
Yeah, I was actually more impressed with some of the stuff I heard coming out of Comic-Con where people were able to play it, where it sounded like, I know last week we had that really long RPG discussion, but it was kind of interesting. Another take on it is that it sounds like it's going to be kind of that Rashomon thing where people are going to tell stories about your hero, and how they define you in the stories is how you're going to be playing. I don't know if the entire game's going to be like that or just certain sections, but if someone hates you, he's going to be like, oh, that hero, that fucking asshole, yeah, like he wasn't, he couldn't do anything, and you're going to be like some weakling, and then like some fanboy is going to be like, he was so awesome, he was like Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII, and he, and you're going to be like badass or something like that. The de-PCAization of that, I guess we hit upon last week a little bit as well, is a little concerning, but I mean, I guess if people are just building for consoles now. I mean, even to talk about QuakeCon, they were saying like, they didn't show it. You have to be there to see the Rage stuff, but Justin, who's out with Nerd Flu, saw the Rage running simultaneously PS3, 360 PC, and I don't really think PC is a lead SKU anymore, which is a little depressing. But
yeah,
especially for those guys. Speaking of that, I know we talked about it before we started recording. The Rage on the iPhone.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit! And what Carmack's saying, it's stronger than the Xbox One and the PS2.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy because he said that it doesn't make very many compromises from what you're seeing on the consoles, and it still has all that crazy stuff that he coined, like the mega textures and that crazy
the
lighting.
animation was great. It looked a little flat, like there was some kind of surfaces and architectures and stuff like that.
You can tell that they scaled back a little bit, but it looks
the
pretty darn
animation
good.
was great. I mean, the question there is control. I know you have an iPhone. Do you ever? I know they've released Wolfenstein, and I think there's an actual game called like FPS from like NG Moko or something like that. Have you tried any of these first-person shooters?
I guess the most gamey thing I've played on my iPhone was Street Fighter iPhone, so I can't really say how a first-person shooter would.
Were you okay with the controls for that?
Oh yeah. And I guess that has yet to be seen for Rage on iPhone, because even Carmack himself says on the demo that this is just looking around the environment, nothing substantially gamey in it yet. So we'll see. So far, mostly just from all we've seen Wednesday is that just updates from stuff we already seen at E3.
I know
we've spoken about Mass Effect 2.
Project Dust though.
From Dust, yeah.
From Dust, sorry, yeah. From Dust was his name's like Eric Shockey. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. French guy. For the older people in the audience, you may remember this crazy game called Out of This World, called Another World, in the UK and the rest of the world. You guys ever play that? It was the flat polygon game on Genesis and Super Nintendo and PC.
I haven't, but I did play Populous, which this game kind of looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like Out of This World, but I really, this game designer is really, really crazy. Like, Out of This World was kind of unfair, but some of the stuff you had to do in it was just unseen at that time. From Dust, it actually kind of reminds me, yes, of Populous, but of that like Doshin the Giant game that was on the GameCube back in the day. Was that anything that ever passed through your hands, Mike?
No, I mean I took a look at it at one time, but that was a game that
That's
can
one of
actually
those
try
rare
out.
ones that didn't
Yeah,
make it over here. I
remember-
think it came out in Europe though.
It did, and also had like that 64DD version that
Mhm.
never made it out here either, but it piqued my interest.
I
But,
think Bloodworth actually had an import copy of it, but alas, he's in Germany doing
Yeah.
German things.
having fun.
Those kind of world creation games. I mean, I know we've been playing some Civilization 5 here, but there's always that kind of aspect to it. But then I think of games kind of like, I'm trying to think of a recent one, like I guess like Kingdom for Kelflings or something like that. Those ones that are a little more like personable. I would say even like Black and White have always
Yeah.
had like a kind of appeal to me, where it's a little more rustic and a little less simmy. Speaking of Sims, Microsoft's finally putting out a new flight simulator, just called Flight. Been a long time coming. No, but From Dust looks really, really cool. I hope people put it on the radar. I decided to give it some promotional love on the site because I think it's definitely something that people should keep an eye on.
For sure. I mean, when you see a lot of God games and sim games like that, they usually focus more on the interaction with the people, or customizing, like the little cities, cultures like that. To actually have a greater stake in creating the environment and kind of just playing around with it is really interesting to me. Just seeing the demo made it look like, playing around with Milkshape, that 3D program, or even like a low budget version of Maya, I guess. It looks pretty neat, and just kind of constructing these little worlds, seeing how they evolve over time, looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a big guy who likes story, even if story's not particularly told well. There's the idea, and it seems like the world seems interesting as well. Even though the tech demo is definitely pushing some other stuff, but I went back and watched the original E3 trailer, and it definitely. I don't know. You should keep it. It's an underdog, but I think it's something people should keep on their radar. I guess the opposite of underdogs would be Diablo 3.
Yeah.
I think we knew they were going to announce something. I was hoping for maybe another class, but
They're probably saving that for BlizzCon.
yeah, the what's it called? I keep wanting to call them camp followers. It's the
Caravan?
the caravan, and
Yeah.
it was interesting. I mean, it seems like they're taking some cues from Monster Hunter. Like it's going to be a lot more resource based for building up some of your stuff.
I guess it's your typical RPG crafting system. They've just kind of reworked it.
But it seems a little deeper than it was in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious if there's still going to be cubes that are
The
bigger on
Haradri cube.
that are bigger on the inside than on the outside.
I don't know. I always use mine as a bank. So.
All right, I kind of wanted to shift focus a little bit, and I wanted to just say that I'm actually getting excited more and more for Mortal Kombat. Am I the only one that's kind of on board with that, or no?
Well, they released new screenshots. I guess they have. It looks really polished. I still
Yeah.
haven't seen it in person.
I haven't seen it in action myself.
I was
I've only
hoping
seen
for
the
a new
teaser.
trailer. I mean, there's so much hype. You would think they would have actually dropped something beyond some screenshots.
Yeah, I know, and they announced a few new characters, and the screenshots are cool. But yeah, it really, like you, would be nice to see some more about it.
Yeah, we got another Ed Boon interview. Hopefully, we can maybe get the truth on Reptile this time. That's an inside joke.
After our pop
kind
blog.
of.
Other thing that kind of came out too was they had an update on the Windows 7 mobile platform. They announced the like launch lineup for the games that we're gonna release when it comes out this fall.
Anything interesting? I mean, I
Well,
saw
the one that piqued my interest the most was they announced a new Castlevania game for it. They didn't have any media for it, but the Castlevania game definitely looked interesting. And then
Did you play that Castlevania Puzzle Quest clone that came out a couple weeks ago?
no,
You think it's just that?
no, it's not gonna be that. I don't think. I think it's gonna probably be an actual like side-scrolling game. But the one thing I want to know is like how the games actually control. I haven't actually got to play some of them, and we were talking about like iPhone gaming earlier, and I'm not a fan of like touchscreen controls for like the
You like
controller
that
interface.
tactile response?
Well, no. It's that like for the Street Fighter 4, you have to use to move the knob. You like touch the screen and the button like the button layout. I prefer like the tactile response, but also kind of the layout on the screen. So the ones that they've been showing is on a Samsung phone, and it only has like the touchscreen interface or a keyboard, and keyboards are horrible for the button input. So I'm curious to see if they're gonna actually have a model that comes out that is designed with gaming in mind, like maybe like a gamepad or something like the rumored PSP phone.
Yeah, I think I'm not the only one who was expecting for that to maybe have made an appearance after all the crazy leaks and Game Informer chest beating. But I mean, just real quick, I think Android and PSP makes a lot of sense. I mean, if
Yeah.
Sony's going to not use their normal cross-media interface, and who says they can't use that on top of Android? I mean, what, Android's powering tons of things now. The Nook is Android. So, I mean, it's one of those, like, embedded device operating systems now. And if you have the hardware to run it, I mean, I have a shitty-ass Android phone, and I hate it. But I still like the operating system's pretty decent. And I think it would make a lot of sense in kind of competing against the iPod world.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this Windows 7, I don't know. I know Justin has a Windows mobile phone, but I never really see too much hoopla. I guess Live is a pretty good thing to have.
Well,
but-
I have to admit, I'm more intrigued by just being able to play all the Xbox Live arcade games on my phone rather than having that, connectivity to Xbox Live. If they do have great follow-through with it and you're able to play a huge library of games on your phone, I would say that may be enough for me to switch from an iPhone to a Windows phone.
Yeah, it's an interesting functionality, but it's one of those things where it's like cool tech, but then I wonder about how you can stream your PS1 classics to your PSP, and some games too. I think a couple of the Pixel Junk PSN games you can stream to your. I know you can. So that's another thing where they could really step it up. Though I can't imagine playing Final Fantasy VII emulated on my mobile device that has a touchscreen only. That sounds like torture.
Yeah.
For the most part. But I mean, if people rework things, I mean, I guess they just released Final Fantasy Tactics on the iPhone, iPad, I think, and that works with touchscreen if they actually rework it. But I once again tried to taste the poison that is Final Fantasy II, the original Japanese one, not Final Fantasy IV, and it's just horrible. Even with the try to improve the interface, that was a waste of $7 on my touch. Well, I guess we covered a lot of stuff. I have to say, I don't think we've got any Gran Turismo stuff up, but I may have peeked around the interwebs. Gran Turismo is one of those love-hate relationships. I mean, it's been in the works for so long, but I was looking at some of the go-kart stuff and the weather, and it looks pretty fun. I mean, how can you not pick it up? I mean, even if you have a passing interest in car racing and you own a PS3, it's kind of hard to deny the majesty that is GT5, and we kind of share initials with it as well. Torchlight 2, cool, more of the same. It's kind of funny when that got announced. It'd been announced earlier, but the trailer is up against new Diablo stuff, which is kind of nitty-gritty, and it's just so easy to kick Torchlight to the side, even though it's a great game.
We haven't seen much of it yet. It's still Wednesday, but they debuted this 3 years ago at Gamescom. Guild Wars 2. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we have a demonstration, and then we also have some Portal 2 stuff that should hopefully be coming up soon. The show has, unless someone breaks it in Europe, which isn't outside the realms of possibility, the GTTV this week should be premiering the first co-op trailer for Portal 2, and I've got to peek at it, and it's pretty cute, pretty awesome. I don't think I can say much else. Any final thoughts, Mr. Damiani?
We didn't give any love to Epic Mickey.
Oh yeah, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Are you starting to believe?
No, I mean, I am down with Epic Mickey. I think Warren Spector's an interesting guy. I read some of his keynote synopsis at GDC Europe about how games are not movies, which is, thank God.
Yeah.
That's a good point to hit home. It's kind of funny because I was looking at that and I watched the Heavy Rain move thing, and it's like, I loved Heavy Rain, but it was so goofy. And, you just kind of had to like it. Well, you didn't have to, but I mean, yeah, games are not movies. But man, that trailer is insane. And they were able to pull off that thing where they take characters that you are very used to seeing in 2 dimensions and putting them in 3 dimensions and not making them look super creepy. I don't know if anyone ever played the Simpsons game that was basically like GTA. I can't remember the subtitle.
Hit and Run, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun game, but oh my god,
looked a little weird.
Freaking odd. But
yeah.
Mickey, there's a little, would it be the uncanny Valley? I don't know, but there was a couple of seconds where it looked a little off, but in general, it's spot on throughout.
Yeah, definitely. And be cool to see if it does well, because Spectre also said he wants to do a DuckTales game afterwards.
Oh yeah.
He had mentioned that he wants to do DuckTales. Like, oh shit, that'd be kind of cool.
Well, maybe it can be the DuckTales meets in Inception.
That episode. No.
I think Spectre could be up to that.
And you had mentioned was it Move stuff. I think the one thing else I saw from Move was the Harry Potter, the Deathly Hallows Part 1. They had the Fred and George, the actors.
Wizards.
The Wizards came out, and they did a little wizard RPing on stage. And I don't know, like the Harry Potter games on Wii have been so for me, but and I haven't been enthralled with Move so far. But I don't know, that game kind of looks like it might be a more engaging and rewarding experience for actually using the motion controls for actually more offensive combat like based.
Definitely.
wizardry.
And speaking of Move, I think we were all kind of on the opinion for the most part that Move has a couple more core games than Kinect has had. And I remember everyone's Sorcery is kind of the one, people point, it's, Zelda-ish. It uses the controller. You can drink the fucking potion.
Yeah.
They released a Sorcery trailer, which we didn't have from E3, and I think everyone should watch it because it has really amusing people, like, photoshopped in, like, interacting with the wand. Also, the ECHOCHROME 2, we were looking for, there's so many duplicate trailers. The ECHOCHROME 2 trailer we put up is, it's exactly the same as the E3 trailer, except again, they have people comped in, like interacting with controllers and stuff. It's kind of entertaining. I don't know. Kinect continues to be a little lackluster for me. I watched Kinectimals or Kinectimals. Kinectimals will be the M-rated one. I can't believe Frontier is making that game. I've been doing some research on this old game called The Outsider, and they've stopped to make Kinectimals. And just the gameplay demo we put up, I'm just still not exactly feeling it. Maybe there's some better stuff, but eh.
And on the Kinect front, did you see that news that came out that Rare is redesigning the Xbox avatars because of Kinect?
No, I didn't hear that at all.
Because games that use the your avatar icon, apparently some of them look too pudgy or something, or too curvy. It doesn't make the player feel immersive, and it looks a little awkward for some players when they're depicted on screen avatar. So they're making them more realistic looking, apparently, in
so
time
look
for
like Home or something.
They haven't shown anything, but
It's so funny. It's like we have Mii's, which are like super abstract and goofy, and everyone loves them, and people do like creative crap. You have Sony Home, which is like kind of tedious, and everyone tries to make themselves look beautiful, unless it's us. And then you have kind of the mix between the two of the Home, the Xbox avatars with like goofy items and stuff that are kind of minimally used. Like, I know there's a bunch of Xbox Live indie games that use avatars, and I know Kingdom for Kelflings did, but I mean it's pretty small for the whole avatar market. I like unlocking some of that shit, but it's kind of stupid.
There's just something about Rare making realistic, characters and stuff when they're known for.
They're just gonna throw fucking eyeballs on it. Everything's just gonna have eyes and go duh duh duh. And any final thoughts, Mr. Morales? Let's go around the horn and see if there's any final thoughts. I guess we got Damiani's. Anything from you?
Again, it's still kind of early in Gamescom terms right now.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see any bombs drop at this point, but we still have definitely some more stuff to put up. Lots of more stuff to put up at this point.
For sure. If anything, I'd love to see more Guild Wars 2, and also I'd love to see more Deus Ex Human Revolution. I know we put up that gameplay teaser thing earlier this week.
Bloodworth actually got to go to a new gameplay demo and is doing an interview. But
oh, cool.
He will report. Yeah, game is looking pretty tight. It was fun going from that target render trailer to that gameplay trailer and seeing. I mean, the UI wasn't on there, and it definitely had kind of set camera angles, but it's looking pretty good.
It is. As a huge Ghost in the Shell geek, it definitely appeals to my interests.
And Brooks Huber.
All right. Well, you know what? It's definitely hit me that being there is so much different than being here at the office and seeing everything through video form, because E3 blew me away, and I had a lot of fun being there, and then even Comic-Con, getting some hands-on time with things, blew me away. But yeah, with Gamescom, nothing major has really hit me, and nothing's really resonated so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm happy about announcements, and looking forward to future installments and sequel-itis, because we're getting nothing but sequels.
Yeah. If you keep getting blown away, you're going to get your name on some box quotes. Because PR people love that.
Blown away.
This game totally blew me away.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I have my little favorites here and there. I'm looking forward to Mortal Kombat. I'm looking forward to Infamous 2. I'm looking forward to certain, action-y games. But, yeah.
That's
where I'm at.
And I just, one last final thought, not really part of Gamescom, but none of us were there, but any initial thoughts on BioShock Infinite? I know, Brooks, you helped out on the pop block.
Yeah. I just wish it wasn't coming out in 2012. It just seems so far away right now. We're still in 2010. I'm really excited about it, and I'm really glad that Levine is back on the project and that it's taking such a different approach that BioShock 2 did. And I really like the world that it's created. I like the whole ideology behind it, even though it's very similar to BioShock. I'm just looking forward to it in general.
Yeah, I mean, BioShock was all built on kind of the Ayn Rand stuff, the Under the Sea, the Andrew Ryan stuff, and then we saw the kind of socialism stuff coming in BioShock 2. Here it seems like like pure unadulterated like nationalism, fascism, jingoistic intensity.
Yeah.
And
I like
I just
those
want to say
aesthetics.
jingoistic.
Anytime you could use that
Oh
word,
yeah,
it's
how
good.
bright it is.
Yeah.
Is really really interesting.
When you get thrown out that window and you see Columbia for the first time, it just really resonates with you. And I've always been a big fan of like airy stuff. Like I love the underwater, don't get me wrong, but like being up in the sky and seeing all this for the first time, it just kind of brings back those euphoric feelings of like Super Mario 64 in a way, or even this like exploring the heavens sort of thing.
No, it's going to be interesting. Like you pointed out, the one kind of like guard tower was not really part of the main structure.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm just curious about. I'm curious about the architecture. Like,
Yeah.
is it like a flotilla? Or is there like a main core and like floating other things? I'm curious about the connection to BioShock, the BioShock 1 and 2, since this is a prequel. I'm curious about
50 years
how
before.
are they going to handle Adam, since there's no freaking sea slugs, but we still see kind of like the crazy big daddy
Yeah.
sort of things. I also think it's interesting that the main character is a Pinkerton, because I remember from my U.S. history, they were basically thugs as well. So it's kind of like you see the kind of like almost like the snake eating its own tail. Sort of.
Yeah.
This is me just like looking at things kind of generally. Anyone else want to say anything else about BioShock?
Yeah, maybe I'll be called a heretic for this, but as much as I like the look and feel of Rapture, I have to say Infinite Columbia looks better to me. I think it's just so awesome looking.
Awesome game looks awesome.
Yeah.
And Mr. Damiani?
I don't know. From what I saw from it, I get I don't know. Maybe it's because anything that takes place in the sky, I automatically draw comparisons to the castle in the sky.
La Puta?
Yeah, La Puta.
Or the Whore?
Anything that's different. They did do 2 BioShocks already down in Rapture. It's always nice to change, environment and location. But
I think everyone thought it was going to be, after everyone found out Chris Remo was going to be working on it, everyone thought it was going to be on the moon. So
yeah,
I think Assassin's Creed could beat them to the moon.
That's
maybe.
BioShock 4. So, but no. How it's going to connect to BioShock? Here, I'm just going to call it now. It's going to crash into the ocean, and Andrew Ryan's going to find the wreckage. He's going to turn into Rapture. There
Sounds
you go.
good.
No, that's not going to happen at all. No, it looks good. I definitely want to give it a try, and I do like the change of look and environment.
Mother, tell your children not to do what I have done.
Well, thank you for sitting with us in this short episode of Invisible Walls, which ended up being a little bit longer than I was thinking. Shane will be back next week, God willing, and everything will return to normality with a proper host, proper discussions, and hopefully proper gear. Thank you for suffering with us through our tragedies and our lack of enthusiasm. Anyway, everyone have a good weekend. Make sure you watch GTTV because Portal 2 is freaking awesome. Bye.